way you guys can start your talk right on.
Okay.
Does that sound okay?
Yeah, that's
Yes.
right. Just let me know whenever you want us to start, and
I will.
we're good to go.
Party. So where in Uruguay are you?
I'm in Montevideo, and Santiago, you're in Paso de los Toros?
Paso de los Toros is a department of Tacuarembó.
To the north.
The north, at north.
Nah. I spent most of my time in the department of Canelones.
Right.
It's
Closer
near
to-
Montevideo.
Yeah.
Right. It's closer to where am I, actually.
Yeah. Cool.
Close.
Cool. So if anybody's, I don't know if they might join. But if you're joining us now, feel free to throw in the chat where you're joining us from. And we'll be getting the talk started here in just a few minutes. We're super duper excited to learn all the cool stuff.
Okay.
Started in the talk 3 minutes. We'll go ahead and let our amazing speakers and introduce themselves and get going. Yep. Should be one of those great times for my internet to work, but you know, internet's never behaved.
Yeah. Don't worry, it happens a lot here. I saw the storm approaching here, and I told myself, okay, it's gonna go down any moment. Because those kind of things happen here, you know?
It's Uruguay.
Yeah. In Argentina too, it happens too. You see the storm approaching and you say, oh, okay, we are done. But luckily enough, we have an hour or two, so I'm cool with it.
Start to pray.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, that's funny. That's funny. No, usually internet just doesn't have a problem, but sometimes fun day.
Guys,
You work from a week, no problems, and then Saturday rolls around and
it's Murphy's Law, if I recall correctly, right?
yeah, what the heck? I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely.
For anybody joining us now, feel free to put in the chat where you're doing, what you're excited to learn today, because we're going to see all the fun stuff, crazy fun stuff today. Typical for how we do our meetups. We usually do them on Wednesdays, not Saturdays, and we usually who are from the United States, but why not? This was an awesome topic. And we love to have speakers from all over the world. It's the best part of remote and Twitch is to talk to people all over the world. So
Absolutely.
You guys.
Actually, yeah, go ahead, please. No, please go ahead.
Time over to you, Mauro and Santiago. I'll actually go ahead. I'll mute and drop my camera off. If you want to share your slides again, I will.
Okay.
Go. If you're just joining us, put where you're from in the chat.
Okay, are you sure of them?
Oh, my phone's having issues. Okay.
Okay, can you see them now? You're breaking up.
No se escucha, che.
Oh, sorry, we can hear you. It's breaking up again.
Okay, I can see you. I can see the presentation.
Okay. Okay. We'll go ahead then. I'm going to start. Give me a second so I get everything in place. Let me get a sip of water and we'll go ahead. Okay, welcome to our talk, Malicious Learning, Generating Fake News and Propaganda with Machine Learning. My name is Mauro Eldritch, and my co-speaker and co-author of this talk is Santiago Perez. We are both from the DC5411, DEVFEST group, Argentina and Uruguay. Having said this, you might have found out already that we are not native speakers. So if there's anything you don't understand or you want us to rephrase, to say it again, just feel free to do so. This is a pretty technical talk on some aspects because we will be seeing some really dark components of machine learning, but at the same time, it is absolutely enjoyable by newcomers to both Python and machine learning. So you won't feel odd, you won't feel weird by assisting to this talk, but probably you will have one or two concepts that may be a little bit blurry, a little bit hard at first if you're a newcomer, but don't be afraid for it. Just this is a small disclaimer. So let's start with the really basics. I will introduce myself and then Santiago will take on from there until the half of this talk, and I continue from there. We will have a pretty interesting demo at the end where you will be confronted, if you want to say so, with our tool, Pigbrother, and you will have the chance to compete against Pigbrother and identify possible fake headlines. So far, Pigbrother has a really awesome record of winning, of victories, so be warned. I'm Mauro Cáceres. I also go by the name Mauro Eldritch. I'm the founder of Birmingham Cyberarms, a cyber security company in the UK. I'm the founder of the DC5411, the DEVFEST group Argentina and Uruguay. And I spoke at different conferences around the world, including DEFCON and the EC Council Hacker Halted. Other countries I've been to are Russia, Brazil, Colombia, Iran, Spain, India, Pakistan, Peru, Panama, and a couple more if I forget. I don't want to forget anybody. Now, from now on, my partner Santiago will take on. If you want Santiago to share your own slides, feel free to do so.
Okay.
I will leave it at here, and you can continue from here. While you're at it, I want to comment to everyone that this is an open source talk. Everything, even these slides, these very slides, the Pigbrother source code and a lot of components are already published. The new components that we will speak at the end of this talk are still not on an open source phase. We are still debugging them. We are still improving them, but they will eventually come.
You can see me.
Let me stop sharing mine. Nope, nothing comes up. Okay, so as I was saying, our intention is to make this open source. We know that a lot of people and even bigger companies before wanted to publish their fake news or propaganda generators and were afraid of them becoming a threat. That's why we came up with this. Now, Santiago is going to tell you the story.
Okay, you can see me? You can see me?
Yep,
okay.
Go on.
I'm Santiago Perez from Uruguay. I'm an officer at Uruguayan Army. I'm an engineer at PCA. I'm a team member of DC5411. I'm a speaker at Autodefensa Guitar Argentina, Red Hat USA, and now at Utah. Okay, read me. The objective of this talk is to explain in detail the construction of our fake news and propaganda generator. better called Pigbrother, and demonstrate it's a training. It's just a training, and you can use an application. We will review basic component concepts such as IL and ML, and we will place special emphasis on the use of Markov chains for text generation. Okay, we can see a picture of Pigbrother. The author are Mauro, Eldritch, and Flor Diaz. We have a nice part of this program. And okay, license. We will show you the disclaimer, as without technology, the output we receive depends on the input. This talk is not aimed at being political in either support or criticism of any party or person. I repeat, this talk is not aimed at being a political in either support or criticism of any party or person. The generation of fake news, you can see a left or right, and is conditioned by the content that is fed into our tool, and there are no pre-programmed biases within the system. This talk is for fun, just for fun, and to share you at the investigation. We appreciate being able to maintain that nature throughout it, and especially in the question section. Please. Okay, not faking, previously on the fake news scene.
Sorry, Santiago. Can you click on the hide button? Ocultar.
Sorry.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Not faking it, previously on the fake news scene. Not faking it, GPT-2, a high-quality fake news generator, was released. GPT-2 is an advanced fake news generated by OpenAI. It was to be released in February 2019, but OpenAI withheld the full version of the program out of fear it will be used to spread fake news, spam, and disinformation, like phishing, fake news, and other things. After a lot of criticism from the community, it was finally released at probably reduced version of November of the same year, at 2019. You can try a third-party implementation for free on tag2transformer.com, and we want to do the same ourselves from scratch without using anything from the GPT-2 project. Okay. Weaponizing fake news. You can see at politics, economics, social, or daily life, or social life. Okay, at politics, generate fails, forecast, or ignite dirty campaigns, misinform about a party or candidate. You can see a fake news at a party or a candidate in favor or against, influence an election, for example, at Argentina, Uruguay, Brazil, USA, another one. Economics. Currency fluctuation, particularly includes economies like Argentina. Stock or crypto fluctuation generally used in pump and dump scams. Undermine the reputation of a company. We can create a lot of fake news for benefit or against economy, like a company, like a usher, or whatever. Okay, social or a daily life. Generate this content about a party, politician, or a government measure, even in an organized way. Propaganda and disinformation devices. Okay, implemented cases involving fake news. Political, for example, Trump's grandfather was a pimp and tax evader, his father a member of the Ku Klux Klan. AEOC proposed a motorcycle ban. Man who stabbed Bolsonaro is a member of the left-wing party PT. Okay, at economical in Argentina, Central Bank of Argentina ran out of dollar. Withdraw your fund ASAP. A popular biscuit factory closes due to the crisis. The best stock to buy to avoid the crisis. Okay, implemented case involving you, like social. For example, at Argentina, despite the pandemic, a forced welfare will now be paid to an unemployed population. The quarantine might not end until 2021. Now that you have seen how simple headline can be weaponized, let's try to do it ourselves. Line machine, building a homemade fake news generation collection. Okay, normally who can comment about news story? Anyone who has a read. Okay, who can comment about news story at 2021? Anyone who hasn't reading past the headline. This is the best vulnerability to exploit. People who doesn't read. If you don't read, you can read a headline or a story, and you don't know if it's true or false. Okay, Pigbrother will always succeed against people without reading habits because it's reading way more than them. Okay, how does Pigbrother collect news? Where is the news who collects Pigbrother? Using RSS. User define the URL and political affiliation of target in an input file like CSV. Okay, how does Pigbrother read this RSS feeds? A library called fed parser libpip. If you want to play Pigbrother, if you want to use Pigbrother, you have to install a fed parser. You can install pip install fed parser. Okay, we have we have a short example who try to explain you Pigbrother functionality. Okay. Pigbrother.py collect. Okay. Collect, and you will show you Pigbrother does. Okay, we can see the URL of use Pigbrother and try to collect feed. Well, we have some example from this URL. We can see the example and the URL who can show you the notice and the notice who collected that feed. Okay, collection. How does Pigbrother store this news of CSV files? One for each affiliation, left, right, or garbage news. How does Pigbrother generate fake news from them? Okay, a full approach. This time you can neural network. What is that? What is a neural network? Computing system vaguely inspired by the biological neural network. Each node in the network can signal other nodes and receive feedback in order to learn and improve over time. Okay, how do you implement that? Using Keras, a high-level API working on top of TensorFlow. TensorFlow is an open-source machine learning platform. If you want, you can put in Google TensorFlow and it shows you there. Okay, training a model and generate fake news from it. Train a model in Pigbrother is easy. You have to specify orientation. If you want fake news at left, right, or it's simple garbage. Iteration and 3 important words to work with. For example, Duck, Trump, and Bolsonaro. And there you can do a lot of fake news. Okay, the more iteration and the more specific the word to associate, the better the final result. In the following example, we will use only 10 interaction, which will lead to a very poor model. Okay, we have 3 words and 10 interaction. We will show you there. Sorry. Yeah. Okay, then iteration, and start to create. And you can see the Pigbrother enumerate each iteration, like 1 of 10, 10 of 2, 2 of 10, 3 of 10. For example, Biden Advanced Ways Sangan Mario Cruz, Bowen Book Station, Imaginario, and Safe. And another fake news. Okay, we can see 10 of 10, and a lot of fake news who can create in seconds. At second, you can see that fake news. A second and 44 millimeters. And if you want Megan Monfort, Russian expert, rational glories that is leading media wars. And if you want with propaganda that manufactured, okay, we have 3 words like Biden, Megan, and propaganda, and you can see about these 3 words 10 iteration. The result is saved to the model each file. Okay. Acá we will with the same model who create in the video, in the last video, we can see another 10 fake news.
Sorry, what he did in the last one was to generate the model based on the 3 words. It tried to match to look out for similar words. Obviously, with only 10 iterations, the results will be absolutely bad. And now he's trying to generate from that model, from the model he saved before. Obviously, expect really bad results. Sorry, Santiago, go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Mauro. And you can see the super model with, for example, in this example with Biden, Megan, and another. For example, Megan, and the last one, what was propaganda. Okay, Mauro start.
Okay, thanks. If you see at the video that Santiago shared lastly, he was able to match, I mean Pigbrother was able to match somehow the word Biden with Navalny, the Russian opposition candidate. Somehow it thought that it could be matched. Oh, sorry, I'm having a hard time matching it. Biden and Navalny. This is something pretty strange and weird that happened to us. Somehow, the model we were training matches different opposition members, but it's something we can develop a lot on because we don't have any leads on why it's happening. Now I speak about the generation. Santiago just showed to you how to collect data and generate a really poor model, a really poor man's model, because you're obviously expecting a way higher number of iterations. 10 iterations only will be obviously disastrous. You won't have anything to generate a proper sentence. Really, you won't be able to generate a proper sentence, and if you are, consider yourself lucky. Training a competent models requires a lot of input and several iterations, and every time we feed Pigbrother with new information, we run into 2 possible waves on 2 possible universes. On the first one, this is a perfect universe that doesn't exist. This data matches perfectly what Pigbrother has learned so far, so everything will work accordingly and cool, but it doesn't happen. It happens the other way around. We have another universe where a specific magazine, a specific newspaper, or a specific journalist writes a non-existent word, writes a word in a sarcastic or sardonic way, which obviously cannot be understood by a machine, and ends up screwing up all the model we have trained so far. So sometimes it's hard to track this down. And remember, always the output, it's obviously depending on the input. And so sometimes we spend a lot of time training and building and learning, but a simple error, a simple mistake, or even if nothing happens, the model doesn't do what we want to do. So this requires a lot of effort, several iterations, a lot of time, a lot of computing power. So this might not be the best alternative for everyone. If you're in a hurry or only want to test Pigbrother in a disposable way, we have a solution for that. We have a fast lane. You saw that Santiago was able to train a model, let's say, fast. It didn't took a lot of time, but obviously the results were not perfect. We have a fast lane using Markov chains way. Markov chains is an stochastic model where values can change over time and describes a sequence of possible events in which the probability of each event depends only on the state from the immediate previous event. So it's purely based on probabilistics. Let me give you an example, because I know that this sometimes can scare people away, can scare people off. Math absolutely scares me, so you're not alone. Let's say we have a sequence A, B, and C. B will depend only on the value of A. C will depend only on the value of B. Indirectly, it depends on value of A, but it's not aware of it. Markov chains, it's considered a memoryless process, and let me show you why. Here we have three events: sleep, run, and ice cream. You have these arrows represent the probability to do an event after each other. For example, what chances do you have of sleeping after running? 10%. Of running after sleeping? 60%. Of eating after running? 30%. And running after eating? 70%. Obviously, this is absolutely, it's not real, it's fictitious, but it's a way to illustrate this example. Let me give you another example, because Markov chains can be generated, can be implemented towards text generation. Let's talk here about a 6-word long sentence, a sequence with 6 elements, A, B, C, D, E, and F. And the possible values are taken from a text file. Call it a book, a CSV dump, or whatever. My first word will be hard-coded. It will be hello. The rest depends on how you interact on that way, on which elements you choose. And how have I differentiated them here? Take a look at the format. Bold, italics too, but some are underlined. So let's try to follow a common way. Let's say I put hello. I have 3 words: everyone, mother, or world. So those who are programmers know that hello world is a common suggestion. Let's pick up everyone. So we have some suggestions: nice, my, how. Let's say that I can pick nice, and it will start suggesting my way towards hello everyone, nice to meet you. Or I pick how, it will lead the way to hello everyone, how are you doing? But let's pick my. The next suggestion could be name, dog, or head. If I say hello everyone, my dog barks again. Hello everyone, oh sorry, my head hurts bad. Let's keep my. Hello everyone, my name is, was, or isn't. As you see, the words that can be suggested are narrowed down every time you make a choice. My name is Mauro, Santiago, or not. And we use something really similar, and I'm not saying that it's Markov chains, but it's pretty similar every day. Take a look at this conversation I have with my fellow friends. Hello, friends. My name is Santiago. And Perez. Actually, Santiago's surname, last name is Perez. So, how to generate fake news instantly using markup chains? Easy. It came to my attention that markup chains is absolutely fully implemented in Python using a library called Markovify. Is it reliable? Well, here comes a cold part in this talk. Is it reliable? The outputs will be clunky at times, absolutely clunky. Some will be absolutely really good to log off. Some will be really fun. Some will be really dark. And some will be absolutely a mess that it's impossible to understand. So this output will be clunky. But the cost of generating this output is ridiculously low, ridiculously low. You can generate a couple of headlines in just a few seconds. Faster speed, lower cost, cheaper results. So the following examples were run with the time command in bash, just to measure their duration. Here we have an example. For example, these are all done on markup chains, as it says here in the title. Facebook plans political censorship in anticipation of chaos, including Darrell Isas. This part, if you strip this part, you can actually work towards doing a pretty good fake news headline with this. Intel expert fears Trump will hold another super spreader event. There's nothing but bad news for a goofy new pro-Trump ad campaign. COVID survivors furious after Trump refused to tell their roommates about the possible life on Venus. How dare you? Now, as you can see, I forgot to include here the time, but here it is. Look. As you might see, out of 10, we only thought that one could be used, and it's that number 7. Again, we are disposing 90% of our production. We're just throwing it to the garbage, but it's only half a second to get them. Kamala Harris helped alleged child sex abuse. This is obviously fake, but take a look at how it can fit the pieces together to build some really dark production. Iowa is a lie. So if anyone here is from Iowa, I know you're lying. Absolutely. Now, this is a short demo I want to show you. Let me try to fit my screen and raise the quality because... Okay. This is in bash. We will run it with the time command, and we'll generate some markup chains, some fake news headlines powered by markup chains with a right orientation on the politics spectrum. You see, half a second. We will show it again. Half a second. And so it goes on and on. Half a second for a couple of headlines. So believe me, sometimes, here we changed it to left, sometimes it's easier to work this way instead of using a trained model. We understand that some people do not have the time, are not willing to wait or to train a model specifically to play around with their friends spouting fake news. So this is a way we thought that could be useful. Let's see some informal examples for both approaches, for those who are still wondering about markup chains. Let's say that the trained model approach works on the following way. You're not a native English speaker. You say, my name Mauro. Your teacher comes and says, no, you're doing it wrong, Mauro. And he or she educates you and explains in full linguistic detail, on full academic and linguistic detail, why you're wrong. It cites the corresponding grammatical and syntactical rules and corrects your phrase by citing an example that he or she knows for sure that it's correct based on his or her knowledge, and says, okay, the correct way to say it is, my name is Mauro. Now, let's jump to the markup chains approach. You're not a native English speaker. You say, my name's Santiago. I'm not a teacher, but that phrase indeed sounds odd to me. Something sounds funny in that in that phrase you told me. So I'm used to seeing the word is normally placed between name and following a name. I can't cite English grammatical or syntactical rules, but I'm sure that is should be placed there, and this is the important part, based on previous times I saw it done that way. I say, okay, I'm no expert, but what you're doing, it's wrong. I saw somebody doing it this way, and it worked absolutely flawless, worked like a charm, so try this. Now, we have, obviously, like everything in this life, advantages and disadvantages of these methods. Training a model takes more time to complete, but it will improve over time. Also, don't forget that on TensorFlow and Keras, when generating models, you can with certain rules, you can interrupt the training cycles, or you can simply use shorter training cycles and reuse your model over time. So it's not that you can train it only once and then train it again from zero. You can keep your progress and start working towards a better model. So it can be retrained as needed. But it's bound to a specific language, the one you train it. Why? Because the words and the way the words interact together are specific to a language you have picked up. So if you pick it English, you will stick to English, sadly. And it obviously uses a lot of dependencies, and it's really resource consuming. It's a heavy machine to move. Now, Markov chains, on the other way, it provides you with instant results. Obviously, most of them, and you have seen that before, 90% of our production will be clunky. 90% of our production will go to the trash bin. 90% of our production can be only a fun thing to do and not probably to use in a more academical way. Faster results, lower accuracy. And it's a probabilistic approach. So, as with any probabilistic approach, remember that we told that it was memoryless, it was absolutely careless about anything. So it will work instantly, no previous training involved with any language. You want to pick up Portuguese, you can pick up Portuguese. Russian, pick it. Serbian, you want to do it in Spanish, as we did on our beta testing, you can absolutely do it in Spanish. This has been tested by ourselves on many languages and worked flawlessly. But even though it will be clunky, don't forget this. Always keep that in mind, it will be clunky. Obviously, also it will be lighter and with almost no dependencies, only Markov chains. Forget about Keras, TensorFlow. I think you might even forget about NumPy, I think. Now, we have tested something that went pretty south and pretty quick, pretty bad. We tried a hybrid model. We tried to generate outputs with Markov based on thoughts from a trained model, and the other way around too. But it might help you if you want to do something pretty specific, or if you want to fine-tune the way you want to lie to your victim. But it's highly experimental. Expect lots of problems, and sometimes, and this is not a bug, it's actually a feature, TensorFlow, when used to generate words, tends to invent words. That's why Santiago showed up a video where he was training a model, and I can guarantee, and I can share the model with you, all the words were in English. But some words were deformed because TensorFlow tried to, I don't know how to say, to rebuild them, to rematch them, to tamper with them. We even had a model that started inventing words that were absolutely out of place. So that's another problem to look out for. This is highly experimental, avoid it, but if you want to try, you might absolutely end up with a Lovecraftian language, but maybe good to go. So it's time for the demo. Let me tell you how this works. This is the replicant test. Once you have collected enough data, and don't worry, we have, let's say around 100 or 200 headlines, you can try the test switch in Pigbrother, which will launch an interactive testing menu, the Replicant Test. This Replicant Test, which is a shameless ripoff from Blade Runner, will try to generate fake headlines using Markov chains. You will be prompted to choose one of them to be hidden among real headlines. Then you can ask a friend or somebody to come over and try to guess which is the fake one hidden among all those real news headlines. And this might help you to see if your sources are useful, reliable, and if you're on the right track. Remember what I said about fine-tuning the way you want to lie. In Argentina, for example, we have so many media, so many informal, for using a word, smaller media that just pop up every day. Some of them are honest journalists, honest media workers. A lot of them, on the other hand, are absolutely dedicated to propaganda. This is pretty common to hear, so it's pretty common for us. It was pretty easy for us, to collect this kind of headlines. So let me tell you how it goes, in case it wasn't clear enough. I will play this video not to the end, only for a couple of seconds. You can see the different headlines here. 9 of them are real. I can guarantee that are real. And I tell you how to differentiate them at the end of this talk. One of them is fake. Now, take a look at them, take your time. I will let the video roll in a couple of seconds. You have to choose a number from 0 to 9, including them. So I will start this video in a couple of seconds. One of them is fake. 9 of them are real. I will start the video, and you can let me know if you have won or if you have lost in the comments. Let me warn you that Pigbrother, even though this is on a real alpha version, has a really nice victory-defeat ratio, really nice, and it's far from being defeated. So take your guess. Okay. This has been recorded, so you know that the results weren't tampered with, are not manipulated, or that I'm not doing any kind of cheat behind. Oh, sorry, my bad. Okay, the fake headline was the number 8. Right answer, you spotted the fake headline. Thanks for trying the replicant test. Pope Francis to defend Barrett's fate. You can take note of this, or you can just remember it. I will tell you how to find out which one is the imposter here. Let's keep moving. Okay. Remember, just a small clarification. We did this the last year when elections were absolutely the most seen thing in the American media. So you might find a lot of references to different politicians. Again, this is absolutely occasional. And as you might know, obviously, we do not vote on the USA, so we don't have any saying on this. So these are a little bit longer headlines. Try to see which one is the fake. Politics is not the only topic you can actually lie about. You can, as I said before, economical, social topics, pick your choice. Okay, the wrong number, the fake number is not the 5 one, which seems a little bit clunky how it has been built, at least for me, with that I am not a native English speaker. So it turned out to be pretty suspicious to my eyes, especially having this dash here. And this clarification, so your opponent has COVID. It seemed like strange to me. But actually, the fake one is having socially selected officials makes a clean environment a right. Other states should follow, which actually, if you asked me, sounded like a real headline, the number 9. Okay, this was the replicant test. I dearly hope that all of you have lost, but I don't want to be the bad guy here. So I will explain you how this works. I don't want you to just believe me. I don't want you to believe us. If you do all this talk, all this job that we did was absolutely in vain. A proper way to see if these headlines are fake is to Google every one of them, or just Bing or DuckDuckGo or wherever you want, and see by yourself that they are actual news stories from well-known sites. Of course, you won't be able to find one of them at all, which is the fake one. It was invented by us, well, by Pigbrother. If you are too lazy for Googling 20, 10, or whatever number of headlines, we have a bad news for you. That's why we started this talk in the first place. People doesn't read past the headline. So it was pretty easy to manipulate people who read less than Pigbrother, and believe me. Thanks to the magic of cron and scheduled jobs, Pigbrother reads a lot, almost. I don't know if 100 or so headlines every 5 minutes. So believe me, he reads a lot. So what's next? We have something, PKG, which is still not open source. This was the component I was saying at the start of this talk. We are creating probably the first, or at least the first one to go on public, propaganda framework, which is based purely on Pigbrother. It also will features actually, a web interface that is built atop Flask on Python, always using Python and open source components. And aside from making every step easier, it features a module, an API for quickly searching I'm related to your headline, and helps you to viralize it on Twitter and Facebook. Actually, let me clarify this. We are still working towards a proper use of the Twitter API because we want to create a bot when we are going to publish this live, which obviously states all things shared here are fake. We don't want to violate any terms of service or something like that. So you can easily add any source, any news source to Pigbrother. This is only a front end. You can obviously choose, if you have this evil shell here, it will generate different fake news headlines, as you are seeing here. If you don't like them, you can easily one click to re-roll them. Then you have to choose one. And if you want, you can put a tag for searching for related content. In this case, Trump. Once you click on proceed, it will fetch a different Trump picture every time you click on it. So you can absolutely do a propaganda intervention in just a few clicks, and it will obviously replicate to Twitter and to Facebook. And we have an option which won't go live. We have already tested it, to do farm publishing, which is obviously against all the terms of service of all different social networks. But it shows how easily it is to orchestrate fake news to spread on social networks. It's pretty easy. We have done all of this on our free time using open source tools, open source materials. So this is not that we are a company dedicated to fake news or something like that. We did this as a hobby in our free time. So it's pretty easy. And something I want to personally say on these conclusions is that I don't fear Pigbrother. I don't fear BKG or whatever we can build with $5 and off-the-shelf hardware. What you should really focus on and fear is that somebody somewhere with the absolute resources, with different fundings, with different let's say, assets can actually do something way worse, way dangerous than Pigbrother or than this little script that a couple of friends made up together for this talk today. My conclusions are, having said that it doesn't take a dedicated artificial intelligence research lab to produce fake news quickly and massively. Anyone can recreate this experiment on a very low budget setup. Actually, we are using Docker containers. We are just sharing Pigbrother online. It's open source, so you can try and turn it to your liking. And we think that machine learning is unstoppable. Absolutely all available information can be classified into patterns, some better, some worse, and exploited for the particular benefit of a system, and even if that system is biased. We want to give a special thanks to Mariah and all the ML Utah staff for inviting us today, and to Florencia Diaz, which was the first developer on Pigbrother. So this concludes our talk. These are our different handles if you want to follow us on Twitter and GitHub. We're always open up for new projects. We are always open up to share what we are doing. So please feel free to drop in and talk to us for a little bit. Thanks.
Awesome. Did we have, if anybody has any questions, we'll give just a couple minutes for that. That was an awesome talk.
Okay.
Thank you so
Thanks.
much. I'm going to go be messing with your stuff now. Learned about programming is to fork someone's repo and then break it. So I'll break my fork of Pigbrother. And that but yeah, that was awesome. Super awesome applications and demos. We thank you so much for joining us. On Twitch, which is always fun to do live streams on Twitch. Just a reminder for everybody, we will next month. I forgot what the talk was about, and my internet went out when I was about to remind myself. So I think it's something about neural networks. Feel free to reach out to Santiago on Twitter. If you didn't catch the whole video, we will upload this to YouTube after, and I will post the link on all of the platforms. Great evening. Okay.